Hey YouTube, thanks for watching Junkworks Garage. Well, I was going through and cutting some of this plate out here, working on my tractor. As you can see, I don't know how thick that is, but that's some pretty darn thick stuff that I'm cutting out here. And I'm just making some brackets for something. If you want to go check that out, check out my Massey Ferguson 1950-ish Massey Ferguson playlist. And I have been using up until now both these green ones. I can show that to you. There's one I've used all the way up, as well as the blue ones, which I don't have, but they're the older Harbor Freight ones. So far I didn't even realize I was using two different ones, but I noticed I had some blue ones and I have some green ones. I have some new green ones here, so I don't even know if they sell this Warrior kind. I'm pretty sure these blue ones they don't sell anymore, and I don't remember what the names of them are. They have the big, I believe it begins with M, but I can't remember. But it had big writing on it. Regardless, I was getting ready to go change out, and I realized I only had a couple of these green ones left. I didn't have any more of the blue ones, and I have these Hercules ones and these Bauer ones, which at one point I was going to do a video on, and I don't know, just never got to a point where I was doing something like this, and then kind of forgot about it. But digging through my drawer, I saw these, and I thought, you know, what better time than any other to do it. I'm doing some really thick stuff here, so if it'll cut into this stuff, it'll cut into pretty much everything else you'd probably be doing with these. As well as I'm using the Harbor Freight cheapy grinders on these. I've had these forever and I love them. Alright, well, I got a phone call, so I don't remember where I was exactly, but regardless, I've already done several cuts with these. I'm not going to bother doing that, but I thought I might as well go ahead and... I don't remember which one of these, if they were more expensive or not. I think they were all on sale and pretty close to the same price. I think the Bauer, I honestly can't remember if the Bauer is supposed to be better, the Hercules is supposed to be better, or if they're, or what. They're both 40 grit. They're both the 4.5 inch. Is that what it is? Yeah, 4.5 inch, 1/16. Now this is 1/16 by 7/8, 1/16 by 7/8. These ones just say 4.5, 1/16 thick. So I don't know what the 7/8 is or would be on here. Regardless, they're all 1/16 thick. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to start with the Bauer one and go to the Hercules one. I'm going to make a few cuts here and kind of decide if I notice any difference between old Harbor Freight stuff or new Harbor Freight stuff. This is my opinion. None of these have been paid for. I paid for these with my own money. I went to Harbor Freight, picked them up, put them in my drawer and forgot about them. And now I'm back trying to kind of make a video out of it. So here we go. First of all, you notice that I have marks and I've already kind of cut through these. I take my old worn out ones, which this one's completely dead now, but I'll take these ones right here, throw them on one of these and run down my lines just so I have solid lines to keep an eye on and a good way to track a nice straight line. That's the only reason why you see these little tiny cuts. They're not really deep or anything. They're just kind of where I just kind of ran along real slow and made the outline of where I want to cut. Otherwise, they're pretty well the same depth. I admit this one is deeper. I started on this one right here, so I'll try and stay kind of on these ones and this one here. Another thing about these, yet again, not paid. These, I just think people should buy stuff they can afford more often, especially if they're like me, where I would say I'm probably a little above average Joe Blow that is in their garage. I probably spend more time doing this kind of stuff than a lot of others. Don't leave that on there. But, you know, I'm not out here every single day just grinding away at stuff either. So I do believe it depends on the person. But like I said, I'm cutting some pretty thick stuff. I have about, I don't know, I have a video where I made a holder for these. You can go check that out. But I probably have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 of these, and I've only broke one so far, and I had to take one back because it didn't work right off the bat. Couple things. The switches start not working great, I will admit that. You end up having to really kind of push down to turn it off on some of these. Probably the ones I use the most are getting more out. And they're not super powerful, so if you're just going to ram into it, no matter whether this wants to or not, it's not going to last very long. So I just take my time and let the tool do the work. So you'll notice that. Another thing, pick up a set of these, yet again Harbor Freight. They're for welding, but if you're worried about these, yet again, I'm not responsible if you do something I do and you hurt yourself. I don't have, some of these I put guards on, some of these I don't. Depends on what I'm doing. It is up to you. I'm not your daddy and you're not my daddy, so it's up to you on how you want to use your tool, and it's up to me on how I want to use my tool. Beyond that, we're going to test this out and see what happens. Something else I was saying, these right here, if you're worried about these breaking and stuff, this might give you quite a bit more protection than just a regular sleeve or nothing at all. Plus the sparks and things like that hit this, and it doesn't hurt. So there you go, be as manly as you want to be as well. So this is the Bauer one, and I'm going to just kind of go through and see how it works. Didn't take very long, and I can already tell that this is a lot more hard and brittle, which might make it last longer, but I'm noticing it's definitely bouncing more. So that's one thing about this so far that I like about the old ones. It might last longer, but these ones, I feel like they grab a hold and cut more than bounce. So I don't know if we might need to get this, but now I've used those ones from brand new and not had that kind of a problem where it's bouncing. Well, I'm going to use these up, but I don't like that. I don't like the feeling of that. It feels brittle to me. And I'm going to go ahead and just change it out right now, and I'll figure out a purpose for those. But right now I'm going to try this Hercules one, and if I see if I like it better. So you might get to see all three here. I'll probably throw the green one on and see if it makes a difference. But right now that feels different to me, and it's not a comfortable different. It feels like it's going to shatter because it's so brittle feeling. Whether or not it will, I don't know, but we're going to see if these ones, this Hercules one, how it feels. Since I was filming, I didn't have this on either. I do have glasses on, but I'm going to throw this on as well. That one feels like it's grabbing a little bit more, but still a little bit of bounce. I'm going to go ahead and put the green one on and just see if maybe it's where and how I'm cutting or what. But this one still felt like it was at least grabbing a little bit more and wanting to cut. Here's an old Warrior one right here, the green one. And again, I don't have the blue ones, unfortunately, because I like those. They've always worked well for me. And I've only had, in probably, I can honestly say 40 years now, I've been using these types of things this way, and I broke one, and I broke it on camera. You can go check that out as well. I believe I was making the welding cart. It's behind me here. I believe that's where it was. I have some other videos just on it, but regardless, we're going to do this one now. So right off the bat, it kind of bounced a little bit, but it breaks in real quick and then it starts just grabbing and going. So as of right now, I like the old green Warrior ones and the blue ones if you can find them. I'm going to go ahead and put the red Bauer back on and cut more through this and finish up my cuts here and kind of give you an idea of if I feel like one's lasting more than another or whatnot. Let's see here. I want to look at something here. I don't know if you can see this, but let's see here. Come on, focus. Alright, the edge of that has kind of little, almost chunks. You can kind of see out of the edge now. I don't know about these ones, but they kind of focus. The whole edge is kind of got a shiny spot on it. There's a few chunks, but they're not as deep of a chunk, which means this is probably going to last longer, which is what they were probably going for. The Hercules one is kind of a mix of the two. It's got the shiny edge kind of all the way around, but it does have deeper nicks. So I would say the Hercules one, as of right now, if I could only get one, I would probably grab the Hercules one. Well, in the end, what do I think? I like the Warrior ones. They just feel a little bit, I don't know, they seem like they grab a little bit more. I feel a little bit more comfortable, but in the end I also noticed that this one, because I think it grabs a little bit more, drags down the power of the grinder. So therefore I'll go to the Bauer one here, which I think in the end I almost couldn't get it pushed hard, like to where it would drag it down. I mean, I could, but where I'm comfortable cutting and just letting the machine do its work, I definitely had a better RPM with the Bauer, but at a higher RPM and where it was comfortable to just kind of start cutting where it felt like it was gonna cut, and I could, you know, kind of do my thing where I just kind of go back and forth, and that way it lets it cool off. You use less. This won't wear out as fast. If you just sit there and right through it without, you know, giving it time to cool off and do its thing, I felt like this one just kind of skipped over it. It didn't cut super fast to a fault. Like it was almost too slippery. Like it just kind of bounced over it rather than cutting into it. I will also say that it did kind of, after it was worked in and I made a few more passes with it, this quit bouncing super bad or anything like that. Same with this one, the Bauer or Hercules one. It didn't bounce very much after once they break in, they seem to be better and I'm more comfortable with it. But the Hercules cut, but also felt like the RPM, I could keep the RPMs up on the machine better because it slides through. I don't know how else to say it. These are a little bit, I think, harder, so therefore they slide through a little bit more than this one, which I think grabs and cuts pretty good, but you have to back it off to where it's not quite cutting as good so that the machine doesn't bog down, basically. So I mean, yes, yet again, if you had a higher power machine, you don't have to worry about those things, but I'm not in that big of a hurry. I like, you know, compared price wise, I can buy a ton of these, have them on hand, and I think they work perfectly fine. To each their own. But in the end, I went to the Hercules one. That's the one I ended with at the end when I was just trying to finish up what I was doing, because I think it's kind of the best of both worlds. It cuts faster, I think faster than the Bauer, and as fast as this. In fact, maybe a little faster because I could keep the RPMs up with this one better. So I could kind of sit there, and at the end I just kind of let it, kind of went for it and cut with it, and it cut pretty fast and it kept moving. It didn't bog the machine down. So I like the Hercules ones. I don't know which one of these was more or less expensive, but the Hercules one, in my opinion, that's the thing. Opinions are like butts. Everybody has one and they all stink. Regardless, the Hercules one is probably the one I'll buy from here on out for a while, unless they're just a ton more expensive and I can still get the Warrior ones. I'll probably stick with the Warrior ones. I wasn't as impressed with the Bauer ones. I'll use these up for projects and use them. I do think it may be cut a little quicker or as quick as this one because it didn't bog the machine down, but I also, like I said, I feel like it never grabbed a hold very well and just cut. It always seemed like it was skidding on the top, so to speak. I don't know if this helped anybody out there, but that's my opinion. In the end, I like the Hercules one. That's the one I will probably go ahead and put on here for now. And I'm not one to waste money, so I will finish using all of them I have. And when I get low on them, I'll probably go back and buy the Hercules. Unless they're super expensive. Now get out there and get your junk working. Thanks for watching Junk Works Garage, where I'm proud to say I'm a jack of all and master of none. You all have a good one. Okay.